Today I'm doing a follow-up video to my cryptocurrency arbitrage calculator video that, as you can see here, was by far the biggest hit of the channel, almost 10K views. So it seems that most people like videos that show them how to make money versus videos that are just pure educational. So in this video, I'm going to try to do a little bit of both. So what we're going to talk about today is my current trading or hodling strategy. And I'm going to do a little bit about why these arbitrage opportunities exist in crypto, because it's kind of interesting and you can learn some from that. And I'm going to explain the best way to utilize these opportunities by not having to sit there and stare at your computer all day, as so many of us in crypto find ourselves doing. So what I've been doing is I've been using email alerts, and I actually show how to do this in my follow-up video to the original arbitrage video. I show how to use the VBA code to write email alerts for when the most profitable square gets to whatever percentage you want. Maybe you only want to be alerted at 5% or maybe at 10%, whatever you want. You can set it up to where you will only receive an email alert when that is met. Yeah, only trade that percentage, only trade that minimum percentage because it minimizes your risk. Obviously, if you're trying to do arbitrage trades at 1%, then it's much more likely that the market could move against you and you could have a bad trade than if it was 5%, right? At 5%, your chance of having a successful arbitrage trade are much higher. And just for me personally, I find it super stressful. Whenever I copy paste a public key, I have to like reread it 3 times because I'm just always so worried I'm going to send it to the wrong place. And actually, I've had 2 instances where Poloniex lost 4,000 of my ETH for like over 24 hours. But luckily I always got it back. So that's quite a stressful thing. And that's actually something I'm going to touch on later about why these arbitrage opportunities exist. So I personally don't really enjoy these doing the arbitrage trades for themselves. So I really only do it when the percentage is extremely high and if I don't have anything else to do that day. So one really good example of this was in early December. I think it was the first week of December. Litecoin really blew up on there. Went from like 100 to over 400 in I think the course of a week, and basically the other exchanges were not keeping up at all. And a lot of people have talked about this, but the main reason is just because Coinbase blew up in the App Store and people opened up Coinbase, and I guess people new to crypto didn't realize they could buy partial Bitcoin or whatever. So everyone just piled into Litecoin on Coinbase, and this caused the GDAX price to just shoot up to absurd levels. And I made I think 10 or 15 arbitrage trades in a day, shipping Litecoin back to GDAX, and I made 5,000 in a day, which was insane. But I've never seen it that good, and I don't know if it'll ever get that good again. So other than that, I've just been hodling BTC, ETH, and a couple of privacy coins that I like, because I feel if we do get a regulatory crackdown, I actually think the privacy coins may outperform if that happens. Even though that seems kind of counterintuitive because they might just crack down on the privacy coins, in which case it would be bad. But I don't know. Part of me thinks the privacy coins will fare better if we see a big regulatory crackdown from some of the big countries, USA, a lot of Europe, and China, if they crack down more. So this is the new arbitrage file that I've been trading pretty regularly. It's just BTC and ETH, but it's for a lot more exchanges. It's for 10 different exchanges, and these are all exchanges you can sign up for if you're a US citizen or just live in the US, I guess. So this is the one I've been using a lot. I like doing arbitrage with the bigger coins, even though BTC is expensive to move and it takes a while. I just like it because there's less risk involved. These coins are a lot more liquid. You can get out, and they're a lot less volatile because the market caps are so big. Yes, the spreads aren't as big as the smaller coins, but I just prefer it. And as you can see, I mean, even today we've had some times over 2, and the only reason I pulled it up to make a couple trades was because I got an email alert that said that one of those squares was over 2.9%. So I open the file up, figure out which square it is, and then you can just trade from there. So that's a simple, non-time consuming way to set up your arbitrage plan. And like I said earlier, if you want to know how to set up these email alerts from the arbitrage file, just watch my follow-up video to the original crypto arbitrage video. So now I want to get into a little bit of the educational part about why these arbitrage opportunities even exist. So first, let's just define arbitrage: the simultaneous buying and selling of securities, currency, or commodities in different markets or in derivative forms in order to take advantage of differing prices for the same asset. So traditional arbitrage is supposed to involve zero risk. So you're buying on a cheap exchange and selling on an expensive exchange instantaneously, and then you can just move the security over. So that would be basically riskless, right? And what we're doing here is not that, right? If you were pretty technically minded, you could obviously create a arbitrage bot that would short on one exchange and buy on another exchange and then ship over, and that would be the most riskless way to do arbitrage. But I'm not capable of doing that. And actually, I've been trying to learn Python so I can set up a bot, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. But it's been quite difficult. So as we can see, the type of arbitrage we're not doing, we're not doing a traditional arbitrage here, and that's why these opportunities exist. It's because there is a lot of risk involved. It's just like basic economics. There's no free lunch. For you to take a risk and take advantage of these 2 or 3% arbitrage opportunities, you have the chance of losing funds en route, volatility, making you lose money on the trade. The exchange gets hacked, the exchange loses your funds, just all types of things that can go wrong during an arbitrage trade. So some other reasons why these things happen. Lots of dumb money continues to flow in. So most people, when they want to buy Bitcoin, they'll just sign up whatever exchange is most commonly used in their country. They don't think about, oh, where can I buy it the cheapest? Oh, what's a good price? They just want to buy and get in. And this makes the market inefficient because it leads to people buying on expensive exchanges, which is something that arbitrageurs can take advantage of. We have a very fractured market with many exchanges. There's like 30 to 50 exchanges that do over 1 to 2% of the trading volume for Bitcoin and Ether. And that's pretty impressive. It's actually good from a strength perspective, because if any one of those exchanges gets hacked and goes down, the market's just in a much better position than in like 2013 when Mt. Gox got hacked and 90% of the trading was on that exchange. So fractured market allows these opportunities to exist because everybody's trading on different exchanges. The market also kind of has a natural delay built in because there is such a general distrust of keeping money on exchanges. A lot of people have gotten burned by this. I personally try to keep most of my money in a couple of hardware wallets that I own, but I am guilty of just leaving it on GDAX. Maybe I shouldn't trust it as the best exchange, but I feel like most people do, and it most likely is. It does have a good bit of regulatory oversight. So, and what comes with that is during a price spike, it's difficult to get your money onto the exchange, even if you did want to sell it. It can take 30 to 60 minutes to get your Bitcoin to sell if it goes to a price where you would actually like to sell it. Number 5, I think, is a huge one. Large Wall Street players are not allowed to use client money for arbitrage. So these guys have bots made. These guys know how to code. These guys do this stuff in the traditional markets, and they do it very well. And that's why the traditional markets are so efficient. But I think up until this point, they're really only using their private accounts to play around in this market, or possibly they're not playing around at all, which I would find more likely to be true because the opportunities are still present. So maybe once they get in later this year, once some of that regulation is lifted, that will make the market less efficient and some of these opportunities will go away. The documentation for trading bots is hard to use. So what I realized was doing this manual arbitrage is stressful, time consuming for 1 to 2% gains if you're pretty lucky on a regular basis. So I've been really trying to learn Python. I've invested a few dozen hours into it. I'm having a lot of issues hooking up to the exchange's APIs correctly. So like just to learn, I built a Reddit bot that would like reply to comments with certain information. And I've actually learned a lot. Python's extremely useful, but I still have nothing close to a functional bot that could trade in between exchanges, which is really what you need. Because you're not just trading on one exchange. You have to send money in between exchanges, and as we all know, crypto being irrevocable, you don't exactly want your bot screwing up. So I will definitely keep you updated on my arbitrage bot that I'm building in Python if I end up letting it go live and seeing how it performs. So a lot of people have asked me if I want to if I would build the file or change the file to trade some altcoins because the spreads are a lot wider. And I would say yes, this is 100% true, but it's also a lot more risky. Remember, the higher percentage chance you have to gain on an arbitrage trade, the more risky it is. And this is because the large market cap coins are a lot more liquid, which means they're less volatile and they're on more exchanges. So you could have someone only dump like a few $1,000s of an altcoin, and it could really, really screw up your arbitrage trade if that coin is en route to a specific exchange to sell it. So yes, you can do this, but I prefer just doing it with ETH and Bitcoin, just because those are two coins that I'm going to be holding anyway. So I don't mind if the price goes down a little bit in the short term. And I don't know. I just feel safer doing it, I guess. Maybe I just don't trust the blockchains of a lot of these altcoins. But yeah, I prefer doing it with the larger market cap coins. But I know some people have definitely had really good success doing it with altcoins and making extremely large percentage gains in their round trip with those altcoins. Okay. So just to show you a couple updates, this is the original file. We're still getting close to 2% on a lot of the time on most days. Normally I would say it's maybe 1.5 or 1, but I think today this one's been close to 2% at all times, which is still very profitable to trade on. This is another one I set up for somebody with Bittrex, GDAX, and Binance. This one's actually been pretty good. And as a side note, I've been really amazed how much trade volume Binance has taken. They've really busted onto the scene, and I actually like trading there. I think it's a really, really well put together exchange, and they've done some good things. So this is just the code of my Reddit bot that I designed. I'm obviously not going to go into it, but yeah, I'm trying to build a bot in Python to trade in between cryptocurrency exchanges to just automate this whole process. And I would say that I think some people already have this created. You see, like arbitrage is one of those things that you don't really talk about because when more people know about it, the opportunities disappear. So this is why I can't find good documentation. I've been talking to some people online, but basically it's very difficult, and arbitrage is not something you openly talk about, or at least for most people. So I'm going to keep working on this. I'll keep you updated on if I get this up and running. But as long as we have big percentages open, like 2 or 3% open, it makes me think that if there is a few bots doing arbitrage, they're not very big and they're not doing it very well, because otherwise I don't know how these opportunities could stay open. So please leave a comment. If you'd still like the file, it's still for sale. You can pay me through PayPal or crypto. I'll leave the addresses in the description. So yeah, please leave a like and a subscription, and I will try to get back to you on updates with any of my trading strategies with the arbitrage bot or anything else exciting that happens in the world of crypto. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something.